we want. And one of the easiest things to do whenever you are having a conversation with someone, especially as you're a leader. Now, and I'll give some context around this. Typically, these conversations is that someone's coming to you because they need some help and advice, or they're second guessing themselves in that scenario. And in that place, the worst thing you possibly can do is to give them the answer, because in that scenario, all you are doing is being a transactional leader. You're going through and giving the answer, and what you actually create yourself as a bottleneck, because the person gets the answer they want, and therefore they got the path of least resistance. They haven't had to think uncomfortably about what would go wrong if I made this mistake. They haven't had to have any ownership on what they're doing for that process. They just come to you and going, in their head, I'm sure this is the right thing to do, but if they say it's okay and it goes wrong, it's not on me. Yeah. So in those scenarios, when it comes up, the best thing to do is to not give the answer to people and to ask them questions and lead, and think about every opportunity as a situation of growth and leading those people. And there's going to be other exceptions to where this isn't always suitable, but I think it's a great thing to do. And I'll give you an indication of when it's a really good time to bring this into your awareness. Now, if you're going to go away for 2 weeks annual leave, pretty much for that 2 weeks leading up to that 2 weeks, you should not necessarily be solving any problems. All right. If you want to go away on holidays and come back from your annual leave and the world's not has crashed around your ears, then a really good idea is to go through in that scenario is stopping yourself from asking the question. And it might be along the lines of, like Alex said, I really appreciate that. You're absolutely right. That's a good, interesting problem to have. And I really appreciate you bringing that there. And that's a really good question. What do you think the solution would be? How do you think you'd solve that problem? What would be some outcomes from it? Or, okay, this is something I'm sure you're okay to do. What do you think would be the right answer? And then, yeah, good, you got it, right? So go ahead, and you know how to do this. You've got this, right? You don't need to ask me to do this every time. Away you go. And the other part of that factor is making sure when it comes to that transformational, that we also, and this is a hard one, right? We've got to create the space for people to make mistakes to learn. We just don't want them to be too costly. We don't want to lose a customer over it, but we've got to find that happy medium where it's okay for them to make a mistake, because here is the thing is, as far as your communication goes, you're going to be doing a lot of communicating, and you're going to do all the communication. If you don't bring your team up to be able to build that skill set, you'll end up being a bottleneck. You'll end up having everybody coming to you, and you'll look at your day and you'll have, okay, my plans to do this today, and at the end of the day, nothing's happened. All you've done has been doing the whack-a-mole of solving problems and putting out fires. Yeah. So think about that when it comes to next time someone comes and asks you a question. How can I have this discussion, and how can I ask questions to bring them along to find out what is it that they actually know to do and can do it that they're not doing, or what is it that I haven't enabled them or given them the information to? And the only way to get there is through having a conversation in order to do that.
Definitely. I think that, that whole process of actually finding the barriers between what is a great mistake that someone can make that will be a lifelong lesson to assist them for empowering them in the future, versus, what's a costly mistake that potentially, has massive impacts that are negative on a business. I think a lot of leaders really struggle to find that happy medium, and then they will take work back for the fear of some of those mistakes coming up. So that was absolutely fantastic point, Brad.
Interestingly enough, when we look at some of the tools we've got for, in our toolbox, and what tools we give our leaders for their tools, and whether it be coming effectively communicating and getting your product or service across the line to seeing whether they see it, or within the context of leadership, building a team in that regard.